Welcome, media. Glad to have you guys back here, Pocono Raceway. Finally, the summer has begun. We have Brandon Gdalski, our president and CEO. Nick Gdalski, his brother, executive VP and COO. Start off with a question and answer session with these guys, but first, how are you guys feeling about cars being back on the track?
Good. So you man of 1,000 words over here.
Thank you, Nick, for that wonderful response. Brandon, how do you feel about cars being on the track?
It's great, man. After this winter, it's starting Groundhog Day. I mean, this is what we all are here for. Why we're here, and to have that smell in the air and that sound reverberating through the office as we're sitting there this morning. It's exciting. So glad that we're 2 short weeks away from the race, and looking forward to an awesome, amazing Pocono 400 weekend.
Open up the media members. Just raise your hand, and we have 2 of our staff here that'll be able to give you a microphone. Okay, thanks for coming out, guys.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. At least we have one.
I know we're talking NASCAR today, but what did you think of what happened on Sunday at Indy? It has create some excitement for July. I know we're talking Indy for our NASCAR first, but that had to create some excitement for July 6th here.
Oh yeah, I mean that going to that track is just it's for 2 kids that grew up in this sport, the history of it alone. You feel the energy when you roll through that place, and it's pretty amazing to know that they've been running there for 98 years. It's pretty phenomenal. But it was a great race, great crowd. We're looking forward to July 6th and IndyCar's second bout in their second return here to Pocono over the years. So it'll be good. I mean, the race last year was good, and we're hoping the competition will be better this year.
I know they're going to do some testing at other facilities to work on the aero to even make the racing better here than it was last year. So we're kind of waiting to hear from them what changes are going to be coming down, and hopefully the competition will be even better next year. And then you got to throw the whole 100 extra miles in there. Strategies change, whatever they had last year, just throw it away and start over. So.
Any questions?
So back to NASCAR. I'm excited about this. Second year with these cars, and I think you're seeing the teams have really gotten their handle on these Gen 6 cars, and you're seeing some unbelievable races this year, and speeds are up. And it's going to be even more exciting when they come back here this year. Yeah, Scott.
Did you guys were there any improvements or different things you did different for the last, since last year? Track-wise, can you just talk maybe a little bit about some of those things?
Yeah, track-wise, the biggest thing was that curb that was always in turn 2 is now gone. And there is a 15-foot apron that's down there now that replaced the runoff road that we had down there. So it's, I don't think you're going to see guys dive bomb through there, though I'm sure somebody at some point will try it, and it'll probably be like the last 3 laps, and they try to go 3 wide and go through the tunnel. And I think maybe the truck series will see them use it a little bit more, but it's definitely going to enhance the racing through the tunnel turn. I mean, if it already wasn't the hardest turn in NASCAR, it's going to add a different layer of to that. And the race car driver here in the family was the mind behind that little tweak and change.
It's a twofold goal. One, you made it safer. Hitting the curb bounces you out back to the right and back into traffic. So now they have an escape route, a viable escape route that they don't have to go through 30 feet of grass to find. You take a page out of a short track, our operation at South Boston, Virginia, where drivers there get underneath the yellow line with their left sides if the car's a little snug, frees up the car a little bit, so it can actually change your handling characteristics. But the main reason is it gives them an opportunity to run more comfortably and a few miles faster through turn 2. What all that translates to is it keeps the field a little tighter in 2, which was the choke point. So by doing that to turn 2, hopefully that translates to more consistent, closer finishes down the front straightaway. And then on the inside of the track, you've added safer barrier and new safer barrier and catch fencing there. So there's all-around safety, both for the drivers, for the safety workers, and for competition as well.
And then on the fan side, we started our sign program last year around the facility, the wayfinding. This year we've enhanced it even more with fan walkways in the parking lots to get people off the road and get them kind of going where they need to go with it for more safety and a cleaner approach to the facility. all new signs now in the infield, almost 900 signs last year, about 2,500 new signs this year to get people around, dress the place up, add some color and some flair. That was a big thing. We're excited about the halftime party, the first ever NASCAR Bud Light halftime party we're going to be holding over there in our corporate hospitality village in the middle of the race. Something for fans to, they get out of the seats and they start mingling around the halfway point anyway. So let's add an amenity for them that they can go and have a good time. They can watch the race over there. We'll have the video boards going so they can watch the race. And here comes trouble. And so that'll be, that's a piece of what we, a fun thing we had this year. And then obviously the block party. We're going to open that up for fans on Saturday night to come in from the outside for a small donation for our local fire department. They can come in and watch the fireworks show and take part in the infield block party this year for all 3 of our race weekends.
Yeah, we started that last year with the IndyCar race, and we had overwhelming response to it. So anybody that doesn't even have a race ticket, feel free to come on out on Saturday. And like Brent said, it's just $5 for your whole car to come in and enjoy both the Nathan's hot dog contest qualifier, which is going to be a pretty big deal, and all the other entertainment that goes on Saturday, and fireworks, of course. So we had several hundred cars. I mean, it overwhelmed us. We had to move it to extended lots just to get everybody in. And then don't forget the major upgrade is the announcement of the 115 project that's going to be engineered this year and hopefully shovels in the ground by next year and active by 2016.
So we'll let the new daddy and the newlywed here.
Yes, congratulations, Clint Boyer, recently married, having a kid.
Big, a lot of wild things going on in my life right now, but it's fun to be back at the racetrack. Testing's a big part of the success that we have or don't have, on the racetrack, and the cars. It gives you a good chance to go through a lot of things that you don't have the time to do when you'll be here for the race. So it's kind of boring because the guys make a lot of adjustments, and we're kind of the crash test dummy for now. But like I said, it is important, and so far so good.
Any final questions for Brendan or Nick? Okay. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. We'll turn it over to Clint here. Does anyone have any questions for Clint Boyer?
Questions are good.
Right there.
Zach Sternio with Pocono Record. You guys seem to have a lot of something because you and Brian were out there for a lot of things.
Yeah, we had really good speed both weekends at Charlotte, but just once again, we didn't deliver. When the money was on the line, the pay window was open, we just beat ourselves again. That's been the frustrating thing about our season so far is, we've had really good cars and just haven't been able to seal the deal and get the finish. Really uncharacteristic for us. It's been a lot of headaches, you know what I mean, and a lot of missed opportunities. And the good news is, like you said, our cars are fast, and just got to keep our heads up and do a better job. We've had some trouble in the pits here lately, and certainly doesn't help anything. But again, we made a mistake. The wheel was loose, and then obviously I've done the same thing. We came in and took 2 tires. Ran, where we ran like 8 laps, caution comes out, he comes in and took 2 tires, went out and had a loose wheel, and he elected to just put the right sides on it. I mean, naturally that's all we did. That's what it is. We gather that and gives them guys a chance, and the smart computer boys a chance to go back home and dig into them things and really come up with an awesome setup for the race.
Scott Walsh from the Scranton Times Tribune. Clint, Brandon and Nick were talking a little bit about some of the changes that they made in turn 2 there. Can you just talk a little bit about, what do you think of the changes, and how do you think it could affect the race?
Well, I think it could be pretty interesting in the race. I would say somebody will be on the restart when we go off in there 4 or 5, 20 wide or whatever it is on a restart. Somebody will be on that apron, and it'll be interesting. Probably won't come out the other end, but I'd say somebody will try it. I hated that curve back there. Scared the crap out of me. I mean, you're carrying so much speed back there, and I mean, you're literally, right there on a, felt like a 2-foot curve right there. I hit it once in qualifying, and it destroyed the front of my car, and I never never got close to it again after that. So it's kind of nice that it's not there anymore.
Hey, Clint, Mike Coons from the Pocono Record. The last 3, 4, 5 years, maybe even, this place has undergone a lot of changes.
Yeah.
Repaved, the catch fence, the safer barriers. As it from a driver's standpoint, can you shed a little light on how you're feeling about this place now in 2014?
This has always been a fun racetrack to come up to, a beautiful area. It's just, Bert and I were riding in this time of year. It's just so nice outside. But yeah, a lot of upgrades and improvements since I've been in this sport, and certainly here to the last few years, it's really taken shape, and it's been a good racetrack to race on, and a good environment to be at for a race weekend. Fan base is always a lot of fun out here to interact with them, and they do things right. So it is a great race to come here for the weekend and have a good weekend out of it.
Any other questions for Clint? Clint, appreciate you being here. Thank you. So we have Martin Truex, driver of the number 78 Furniture Row Chevrolet. Martin, how are you doing today? How's your test going?
Oh, doing good so far. Nice to be up here testing. The weather's good, and glad to be here.
Do you have any questions for Martin?
Zach Sturniolo from the Pocono Record. You guys had a great car going throughout the 600. You're running top 10, drove an axle right toward the end. Is that reassuring going forward here for the next couple of weeks as you get into the
Well, I mean, anytime you run good, it makes you feel good. But we definitely learned a lot. We struggled at the All-Star race, and the guys went to work during the week. And honestly, I can't remember finding that much speed in 1 week before. So the team did a great job, and so there's definitely light at the end of the tunnel as far as that goes. They've been working hard, trying to get better, and it's just frustrating. Our whole season's kind of been that way. Every time we've had a really good race car, something bad has happened. So it's been frustrating, try to get that momentum going. But the team's doing a great job, and I feel like we've got some really good things in the works, and we've got good race cars. So we just need a bad luck to end, and hopefully it'll end soon.
Question for Martin? One here, one in the back, one here.
Scott Walsh from the Scranton Times-Tribune. Martin, can you talk a little bit about this first year adjustment with a new team and everything like that? You're 10, 11 races in now. Do you guys you starting to feel they know what you want? Kind of what they want. Just talk a little about the relationship going to a new team.
Yeah, it's went really well, honestly. I mean, they've got a great bunch of guys, and very experienced crew chief with Todd Barrier, and my engineer Cole Pern has done an amazing job working on the cars and trying to figure out what I need. Really that hasn't been an issue. We kind of got through that the first couple of weeks of the season. I feel like we really got on the same page as far as that goes. Really the biggest thing has just been trying to figure out the new rules package this year. Everything is so much different with the way we're running these cars, the way we're setting them up, and all the engineering that goes into that. That's been the biggest learning curve, was just trying to me put my finger on exactly what I needed, because so many things are different than what I've been used to. So the communication part really came quick, and they've been a great bunch to work with. So that's been fun, and again, I feel like we've made some really, really big gains in the past month or so, and just haven't really been able to show it because again, the luck's been pretty horrible.
More questions for Martin?
Martin, just a comment or two on how the season's going in general for the new point system and the new way of evaluating who's going to make the chase and so forth. And it seems like there's been a lot of parity, if you will, a lot of different guys jumping out there. Your thoughts on how the season's going to this point?
Well, I think that, as a fan, I think it's been great. Obviously a lot of different winners, this early in the year has been a great thing, and I think the races have been a lot of fun to watch and to race in. So it's been, I think everything's going really well. I think, NASCAR's happy, and you can always do things better. The racing can always be better, and I'm sure they're looking at things, but, so far it's been a, pretty interesting season. There's been so much different this year. I think that's why, you see the different winners, and you see different guys kind of hit on something, and run really good for a couple weeks, and somebody else comes up with something new. So it's constantly evolving what we're doing with the race cars, and that's why we're here testing today, just trying to find that next little step and hopefully, figure it out before the next guy does.
In years past, maybe where you're sitting in the standings, maybe there might be some panic or desperation to try to get into the chase. But do you kind of feel now where basically you win and you're in, where you feel you're just one win away from kind of turning things around a little bit, or is there a little different, obviously different mindset, where you are in the points, knowing that just one win could do it for you?
Yeah, certainly. It's definitely a different mindset than it used to be. It used to be, you're in the 20s, you're like, all right, you get to halfway through the year, and you start worrying about next year. You start trying new things. You start testing cars and trying to figure things out for the following year, so you can come out, come to Daytona and be prepared. This year now, it's one win could, really change your whole season. So I think a lot of guys are looking at it that way, and the guys that have won races, you can tell, are kind of getting out there on the edge and trying stuff and trying to get their leg up for the chase. So it's definitely an interesting thing. It's definitely opened up a lot more options, and I feel like as a racer and as a team, it keeps you driving, keeps you pushing forward, because just one good weekend could change everything. So it's definitely been different. It's been fun.
Talking about different things, the knockout qualifying this year has really added a lot of excitement. From a fan standpoint, going to bring that to Pocono, do you think that creates more excitement for you guys or for the fans on either side of it?
Both. I mean, I think everywhere we went, it's been a good change. So there was places like Martinsville where everybody was really nervous about it at first. Like, how's this going to work on a half-mile track? You try to get everybody out there, and it's you're going to be running into people and getting blocked and all that. It's really went pretty smooth. So it's been fun. Again, it's another one of those things where it's a new challenge for us. It's something that no one's ever done before. We've always, since we grew up qualifying. You get one or two laps. You get one shot at it, and so that mindset and that that different strategy has kind of changed throughout the season as people are learning about it, because it's new to all of us. So it's been fun. It's been again, something different, and it's always fun when they change things up and you have to learn again.
Any other questions for Martin? All right, Martin,
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
As for the meeting here, we're going to go back out there and see if we can get more drivers to come in. Like I said, a lot of them are working through lunch, and we'll let you guys know, okay? All right, guys, I'd like to welcome Jeff Burton, drives for Michael Waltrip Racing, and also Jamie McMurray, who just won the Sprint All-Star race, so $1 million richer. Congratulations to you on that. How are you guys testing going today?
It's going well. We were kind of early in the test, and well, we had a few issues that we worked through, and I think we're going to just kind of start our test right now, to be honest.
Yeah, same thing for us. It's, you go out and you get a baseline. So we had a really good test so far. We unloaded really close, which is a big deal. Actually, you wish you hadn't wasted a test now since you unloaded so close. It would have been fine. The thing about Pocono is that you just never know if it's going to rain out practice or qualifying or rain the whole weekend. So it's worth coming here and getting on the track because you have no idea what you're going to have when you get back. He wasn't joking. That was real.
Yeah.
Appreciate bringing up rain, you guys. Any questions for these wonderful drivers up here?
Hey Jamie, Kyle Knight, the Times leader. First off, congratulations on your victory in the All-Star race. And just describe the emotion of winning that race.
Well, it's pretty awesome. It's so much different than a points race. When I woke up the morning of the race, and you think about getting to race for $1 million, it's pretty awesome. To be one of those guys that gets the opportunity But to then line up on the front row in the last 10-lap segment, you know you have a realistic shot. 3 minutes later to win $1 million. It's crazy. And once I got out front, you're just praying that there's no caution, that all those guys race clean behind you. Because and I didn't realize this, but in the drivers' meeting they talked about it was unlimited green, white checkers. And our weekly race, or the normal schedule, you get 3 of those. And if the caution comes out after you take the white, the race is over. But they said in the drivers' meeting there that no matter when the caution came out, that you race to the checkered. So I just was hoping that there wouldn't be a caution. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, Jamie, I know you have your rookie teammate, Kyle Larson. Have you been able to provide him with anything throughout the season? Maybe give him some advice or something?
Well, Kyle has done an awesome job, and I gave him a ride around here and told him, the little things that I always think about when I come to Pocono, and gave him some ideas of where the braking zones are and the shift points and restarts and just kind of the stuff that I think about. And I've talked to him at a lot of the tracks, about the kind of the unknowns that you don't know until you actually race there. But he's a pretty talented guy and doesn't really need a lot of help.
Zach Sterniolo from Pocono Record. Jamie, you and Kyle have both had a lot of speed this year, and especially at Charlotte at the mile-and-a-half tracks. What kind of momentum does that carry on because the mile-and-a-halfs make up the brunt of the schedule?
Well, when I look at our year, we have had cars capable of winning numerous races. Bristol comes to mind, really good car there, and Harvick had the oil line come off with 50 laps to go, and I ended up crashing as a result of that. Kansas 3 weeks ago, I thought we had a car capable of winning, blew a right front tire somewhat early in the race, or in the middle of the race. So we've had really good cars and just haven't been able to put it together. And it was so rewarding for the All-Star race to actually win. And on top of that, I think not only winning the race, but our pit crew got to have an amazing pit stop at the end, and followed that up this week at the 600 with awesome pit stops. They did a great job, and so not only has given me and Keith and the guys that work on the car some momentum, our pit crew did an amazing job again this weekend. So I think it's been big for the whole team.
Charlotte?
Charlotte McBride, WNB TV, the ABC affiliate. This is for Jeff. We haven't seen a lot of you this season. I know you're racing a limited schedule. What was it like today to get back behind the wheel, even if it's just for testing here?
Well, I've actually been doing quite a bit of testing. I did a lot of testing in January. I probably had more seat time in January than I ever had in my life. And in February also. But I've been out of the car since we raced Vegas, and since then I've really only tested twice. So to be honest with you, it took me a little while to get going. My first few runs, it's really important to be able to operate on the edge and find that limit, and it took me a minute to find it. So it is something that you're better if you can do it every week. I feel for sure, but I've really enjoyed what I'm doing. It's been fun I've enjoyed watching the races this year, and going to races with my son and hanging out with my daughter, which I've never had a chance to do. So it's been fun. The TV thing's been a lot of fun. So I've adjusted very well, believe it or not.
Thanks.
Hey, Jamie.
Could you just talk a little bit about the changes there in turn 2 without the curb there now? How do you think that's going to affect the driving and the racing through that turn?
I think you shake hands and told me. Well, honestly, when I did the ride around in the rental car, I thought I would just cut the corner off. I'm like, I think you can probably new asphalt. Do you think that? Yeah. I did. But there's a pretty big transition from the racetrack to the asphalt. I think it's something that on restarts will be really interesting to see guys. If you maybe get forced down there, it's not the curb. But when you are on the track, it's actually nice just not to have the curb there, because I feel like you used to go through that corner, and if you hit it just right, you think I could drive harder the next lap. But if you miss it and you touch the curb, it would shoot you out towards the wall. So it's actually just more forgiving than what it was before. And really, once we got to running, I didn't really notice it. Like other than the curb not being there after the first lap, it's kind of all went away. But I think it's better the way it is now than having that big lump of concrete in the middle of the track. It's good.
Jeff, this is for you. Joe Thomas from the Sports Hub. How have you enjoyed joining this side of the question and answer period, coming up with compelling questions for the drivers?
Well, I've only had to do that twice, and my first my first live interview was with Clint Boyer. So that's all that has to be said, really. And then I did about an hour-long driver-to-driver interview with Carl Edwards a couple weeks ago, and that's going to air here in a few months, I guess. But I thought that went really well. And actually, Jamie doesn't know this yet, but he's on the list for the next one. So
I can't wait.
But I mean, I think it's I haven't been long out of the car, so I still kind of understand what they deal with, and I think that's a good perspective. I think it's good to have people that are recently out of the car. I think that's good for all of us. But I don't consider myself the media because I don't eat as much as y'all do. Number one, but number two, But if I started, they might not want to hang out with me anymore. If I'm the media. So I hope to just be myself and be one of the people. The hardest thing for me, I think, is going to be, if I have a question about racing, I can call Jamie and he's going to tell me. But there's going to be a day when there's a whole new group of drivers, and staying current with them and staying current with what's going on in the sport. That's the biggest challenge. And that's because now I can talk about it pretty well, pretty fluently, and understand what I'm talking about. But 3 years from now, that may not be the case. And so to me, that's the biggest challenge, is being able to stay current.
For Jamie again, you guys have the Hendrick engines this year as opposed to the ECR engines from last year. How much of a change has that been? How much does that help your group, especially now that you have Kia to your group?
Well, this is our third year actually with Hendrick engines, so it's been a while. But the engines are incredible. I think if you ask anyone in the garage, the Hendrick engines are pretty much the best. I think they had some reliability issues maybe this weekend at Charlotte, but power-wise every week it's pretty amazing and pretty much the best there is.
Scott Walsh from the Scranton Times Tribune. Jeff, can you talk a little bit about, was it a tough decision to step away from the car? Did you feel that maybe you could keep driving, and did you maybe consult any other past drivers guys like Darrell Waltrip who have gone into the analyst role or TV role? Did you talk to them about anything like that?
What did Darrell say?
So I didn't consult Darrell just because I did talk to several people, and ultimately, sometimes the time is just right, and I just had everything just kind of happened, and everything was sitting there laid out, and I had prepared myself, and I was Richard knew it, Caterpillar knew it. This was going to be my last year. I told everybody this was going to be my last year, and I had done my deal with NBC, them knowing that this was going to be my last year, and then just the way everything worked out with sponsorship, and then I had some other opportunities presented to me. It just made it the right thing to do, and so some of it kind of got pushed on me and Richard both. Some of it was was my decision and that I had to make, but it was a difficult decision. But honestly, it was the right decision. But I don't think you ever really know until you've done it. And I will tell you that going to Daytona, I was a little nervous about how I was going to feel. But I didn't miss Daytona at all, which I don't think I'd have missed it 5 years ago, to be quite honest with you, because plate racing just wasn't any fun for me anymore. But when they all left going to Phoenix and I was at home, I was like, what the hell is this going to be like? Because Phoenix to me is a lot of fun. But I watched the race and had a good time watching it, and it hasn't bothered me. I miss talking to Jamie, talking to Matt, spending time at the racetrack and hanging out with your buddies. Because honestly, you really don't have any friends out of racing. Because you can't. When you have Tuesday off, everybody else works. So all your friends are in the sport. So I miss that. I miss hanging out with my buddies and telling stories and listening to lies. I miss that. But the rest of it, I haven't really missed that much.
Before our next question, just want to welcome Michael and Ned. Michael, first time Pocono, is this correct? What do you think of the place so far?
It's everything it's lived up to be, or I've heard about. Went out in a rental car with Jamie, made my first laps here in anything. So behind the 8 ball quite a bit. I think a lot of guys either ran here in ARCA or trucks, so to come here in a cup car, probably with the toughest field there is, I'm glad we're here. Bono and I were talking, and when we sat down, this being the rookie year and looking at the test we were going to do, no matter what, we were coming to Pocono. We talked about you get an hour and 20 minutes before we go out and qualify. Yeah, so you get the hour and 20 minutes,
But tickets are available for qualifying day. $10, kids are 12 and free or under.
So, to come here, to make a change, go out, run 2 laps, and come back is 10 minutes. So options are limited to learn. Not only working on a race car, but I think we've probably made 10 runs by now, and I'm still not even close to getting this place figured out. So to come here was very important to us.
Appreciate that. We'll continue questions. In the back.
Hey Jeff, Kyle Magna for the Times Leader. How have you handled the transition from going from a full-time racing now to the part-time deal and the TV deal?
Well, the part-time thing is a hard answer because I ran the 3rd race of the year this year. So that wasn't, and the first one I missed was Daytona. And, that really doesn't help you be ready for Phoenix or Vegas. So pretty early in the year I ran Vegas, and I had been in the car a lot testing, so I was really comfortable going to Vegas. But I haven't done any 1.5-mile testing or been doing all short track stuff recently. So coming here, honestly, it's the first time I've been in a big track since probably late February, early March. And it's taken me a little while to get up to speed. So I run Michigan here in a few weeks, and because we decided to go somewhere that wasn't very fast, and I could ease into it. And so we that's going to be interesting. Thank you. That's going to be an interesting deal because it's so much throttle and the grip level is so high. And what's hard about those tracks is that you have a lot of grip right up until the time you don't. And there's just no margin, but the only way to go fast is just lay it out there and hope it sticks. So that's going to be a pretty big transition for me. And I'll be honest, I'm a little nervous about it because it's so important to understand the cars and understand where the limit of the car is, because you have to drive it to the limit. And when you haven't been in the car a lot, it's hard to know where that limit is. And that's what he was talking about a minute. He's never been here before, so he doesn't know where that limit is. So that's the key, is when you're in the car all week, all the time, you find that limit really quickly. But for me here, it's taken me 4 or 5 runs to ever get myself where I thought I was running as hard as I needed to run. So that's going to be a transition for me going to Michigan.
Any final questions? Final questions for Jamie and Jeff.
For Jeff, Zach Sternell, Pocono Record. Jamie touched on it earlier, getting rid of that curve in turn 2. You've been here plenty of years. What's your take on that, and how do you think that's going to affect the racing?
Well, I think it's a positive. I think that it gives you a little bit of an escape route when something starts happening over there. It gives you a little somewhere to go. It will be interesting to see if people can use it. I'm not going to be the first one to try it because there is a pretty significant banking change there. It's not,
And there's already a lot of grip on the track.
Yeah. So I don't anticipate people using it for racing, but you just never know. It does give you an escape route, and it does give you an option. Restarts at Pocono are insane getting in a tunnel turn. I mean, it's nuts. And I think that when people get bottled up, you might see some people try to use it, which will make things really interesting when you get into turn 3. But overall, I think it's a positive because it does give us, or them, a chance to go somewhere else when stuff starts happening.
I didn't know there was a curve there. It looked normal.
Well, I hate to sound dumb, but I gave Brett Moffitt a ride around this morning, and I went through there and I went, what the hell is different over here? And it took me about 2 laps to realize the curve wasn't there. So,
Scott, do you have one more question for these guys before they take off?
Yeah, just real quick for Jamie, you talked about how you've had cars capable of winning and maybe how frustrating it's been. Do you feel you maybe deserved a little bit better than you've gotten this season? Finishes or points and standings?
Yeah, absolutely. We the frustrating part, or the toughest part, is that the races that things have went wrong, you're running in the top 5, which are the days that you need everything to go right. Darlington, I think we ended up finishing 15th or something, and it was a miserable day, and nothing would go wrong. I mean, the day when you don't care, or you're okay with it happening, everything was okay. But yeah, Bristol, Kansas, Martinsville, I was running 4th or 5th and got tangled up with the 88 car. So for sure, it's really disappointing so far.
And does that give you optimism because after coming off the weekend you had 2 weeks out in Charlotte,
Well, yeah. I mean, here's the deal: when you're running poorly and finishing bad, that's frustrating. If you run well, like after Kansas, I was upset, but I'm like, when you're running fourth and you blow a tire out, that's okay because you had a chance of winning a race that day or finishing well. And running well is the hardest part of the sport. The luck comes in waves, you know, and the good ways and the bad luck. So hopefully we just have all of it out of the way now, and you'll have a little bit of momentum and some not really good luck. You just don't need anything bad to happen to you. The tire problems, the oil line falling off the 4 car, like there's nothing you can do about those. But we were running really well on those days.
All right, we're gonna let Jamie and Jeff get back to it. Our staffers will give you a ride. Thanks, Jamie. Appreciate it.
That's why I'm here.
Appreciate that. If you know anyone that does anti-rain dances, can you bring them along with you? Thank you. All right, question for Michael. Charlotte, I believe you have one.
Hi, Charlotte McBride, WNEP TV, the ABC affiliate here. Having never raced here before, I'm sure you have a lot to figure out. What's the most difficult part about racing the few times you've gone around the track out there and testing, and what are you guys really hoping to accomplish today out there?
Like I said, just learning and to have a lot more confidence when we come back in a couple weeks. I think that's the biggest thing, you know, kind of like I touched on earlier. If I showed up there in that first practice and had the feeling that I did after that first run today, it'd probably ruin that whole weekend for me. So to be able to get all those nerves out, you know, get all the crap moments out of the way and do it now is going to be big for us. And you know, I think we made 5 runs before I even told Bono to make a change on the car. I said the car is way better than I am right now. So hopefully, you know, by the end of the day tomorrow, I'm confident in the changes I'm telling him to make, and not because I did something different out on the track. So that's the main goal. And coming back to the race day, I mean, it's just, I think it's all about restarts and kind of what these guys were touching on. It's hard enough to go around here by yourself, let alone in a pack of 42 other guys.
One more question. You mentioned you had heard about the track coming into this. What did you hear? Did you hear good things, bad things? I'm sure you know it's called the Tricky Triangle.
Yeah, all you hear is tunnel turn. I mean, that's what you hear about and hear the haunting tales of. So you know, but I was watching a video of last year, and it looks like turn 1 on restarts is, you know, when they're 4 and 5 wide. Like I said, it's hard enough to get in that corner. You know, I'm struggling with it today. Running the line I want to, let alone when you're trying to avoid other guys. So that's definitely the stuff you hear about, and I'll probably have my own stories after the race here in a couple weeks.
More questions? Great. Joe?
Is there anything from any other track that you've ever run on that you can apply to this place? Any part of the track?
I was trying. You know, I think I kind of look at turn 1 kind of like a Phoenix. The turn 1 at Phoenix. Obviously, we're going a lot faster here. You're using a lot more brake, but just you know, at Phoenix, you always fight the kind of going down a hill and on the brakes, and you get a little free and try to do a big arc, and that you kind of get that sensation here. But other than that, you know, the only thing I'm going back to is when I used to run ARCA at Gateway. We'd shift in turns 1 and 2, and that's the only experience I've ever had in doing something like that. So trying to you know, go back to what I learned there and get your timing down. You know, I think one thing I'm really struggling with right now is I start thinking about shifting and I quit paying attention. You know, I'm not very good at connecting 2 or 3 things at one time. So, you know, as soon as I can get that to be second nature, I think that, you know, things throughout the race will just be much easier.
Question? The back?
Hey, Michael, Kyle Magny for the Times Leader. How would you evaluate your rookie season so far?
If you looked at our success and where we are in points and everything, a guy that's looking to win races would say, hey, you know, we're a D- right now. But for looking at the resources we have, rookie season, a very small team, you know, don't have the funding that some of the powerhouses do, and you know, just one teammate that, you know, hardly ever runs a sponsor on the car. So very limited resources. At the beginning of the year, we set out a lot of goals for ourselves, and we've met a lot of them, and that part's exciting. We've definitely had low lows, but you know, we ran I think it was 19th at California, and we want top 25s, and we ran 19th at California, and it felt like a victory. And I never thought I would, you know, I'd be excited about 19th, and but to finish there, knowing what we're working with, and 25th at Kansas, and even 28th in my first Coke 600. It doesn't sound a whole lot to a lot of people, but with what we're working with to finish top 30 in the Premier League in our sport, with what we're working with, we're very happy. I know I didn't answer I didn't give you a letter. All right.
That's fine.
B minus.
Fair enough.
Hey, Michael, from a rookie's perspective, what do you think of the new qualifying format in the Sprint Cup this year?
I always tell people I'm a terrible qualifier, and I'm the first to say it. And what I like about it is you get more than one opportunity a lot of places. I know there's the tracks we go to where we know it's one and done. It's just what the tires are, and that's going to be your lap. But there's so many times, I've been in the Nationwide Series for 5 years. I'd come in and say, man, if I could just do that one more time, I know I could get a 10th here, or 10th at each end. And to be able to go back out and do that, which we have a few times this year. So I enjoy it, and I think the fans enjoy it. I'm a race fan myself, and I'll get back to my coach after practice and watch nationwide qualifying just because it's exciting, and watching the trucks out there drafting now. I think it's not only beneficial to myself as a driver, but I think it's just great for our sport.
Zach Sterniolo, Pocono Raceway. Talking about that run in California that you had, obviously California is a much different track than this, just as far as the surface goes, and what kind of things you have to do there as opposed to here. But having more speed there, does that give you any more confidence coming to a track like this that's more wide open?
Well, kind of the complete opposite of what you said, because California is just so worn out. Probably the most worn out racetrack we go to. That was one, like I just said, it was one lap, and that was going to be your lap. And touching back on what Jeff said, the way we drive these cars now, they're so on edge. If you have to lift that little bit, it's so much time compared to the guys that their car's handling right, or they have that confidence to be on that edge for however many laps they need to, especially at a place like this. If you're not in the gas when you need to be off turn 3, it's a half a second down the straightaway. So California, I think we had success because we were lifting all the way, we were using a lot of brake, and you were driving the car off the corner. I think that put it more in the driver's hands. Kansas, I never thought we'd be wide open in a cup car anywhere but Daytona and Talladega, and in Kansas we were. And so it's just unheard of what we're doing now. And like I said, the cars, there's so much speed that just that little bobble is you lose a lot to the guy ahead of you, or the guy that's chasing from behind. So I look forward to worn out racetracks. I think all the drivers say the same thing. Just keep getting more seasons on these racetracks, and we're going to see more better and better racing.
Scott has a question down here.
Scott Walsh from the Scranton Times Tribune. Michael, can you talk a little bit about being part of this rookie class? In years past, there might have only been 1 or 2 rookies, but now you've got a pretty talented class, and maybe how guys like Kyle Larson have kind of raised the bar for the rest of you rookies this year.
Yeah, it's definitely. I think it puts a lot more emphasis and self pride in beating the other rookies. We all go to that rookie meeting before practice on Friday, and I think there's like 10 of us in that room now. And in the past years, it's been maybe 2 guys or even 1 guy has been in that rookie meeting. So to have so many people in there, and Claire B. Ling asked me the other day, she's like, it really seems like you guys you get along well. How is that as being competitors? And I was honest. I said, I'm good at faking it because I really want to beat them. But you do have to be in that little room together each time. But like Justin Algar and I, we ran late models together, ARCA, all 5 seasons of Nationwide together, and then we moved up to Cup. So I think that part, he and I have I think I want to beat him more than anybody probably on the track, and he wants to beat me. But we have a ton of respect. We race each other hard but clean. I don't think he and I have ever had an altercation, but we'll run door to door and can trust each other. And he and I were out there riding around in a rental car today. But like I said, I probably want to beat him more than anybody. When we come back here.
Any final questions? All right, Michael, appreciate it, and best of luck when you come back here next week.
fire suit.
Keep working on Austin.
All right.
He'll do it. How long I said he has to do it, otherwise I'll hurt him.
All right.
Just put it over. I wouldn't really choose. No, not you. I've seen you wave people shout at.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Newman, driver number 31 Caterpillar Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing. Ryan, how's the test going for you today? After you finish, I'll continue to talk. Ryan is a past winner here, and we're excited to have Ryan back here. He's in the 31 car this year. Tell us about the transition to RCR and how the test is going for you today.
You were 2 shoes away. This is one of my favorite racetracks. I've always liked Pocono, always liked the area, always talk about going fishing, things like that. But coming up here with a new team, a new organization, just kind of working through all 3 corners of the tricky triangle and getting a good feel for it. And we come off the truck really pretty good, and just been working on a few things. Some of the things that we want to try for here, some of the things that we want to try at other racetracks that we don't get a chance to do.
Any questions for Ryan? Start with Scott up here.
Scott Walsh with the Scranton Times Tribune. Ryan, you kind of gained your reputation as a premier qualifier. What do you think so far of the new qualifying procedure, and how do you think it'll kind of play out or affect here at Pocono in 2 weeks?
I said before that I wasn't a big fan of it before we started doing it, and I really haven't changed my opinion. I think it's the only positive I see in it is the drama or the potential drama that it has for the fans. But however many races, what are we, 12, 13 races in the season now, I don't see any more fans showing up in the grandstands than we started. So, in saying that, it is what it is. You still have an opportunity to win the pole. We'll still have that opportunity when we come back here twice, and it's one of those deals where it kind of is what it is, and we'll do what we have to try to win that pole.
Does it change the strategy at all?
It changes it a little bit. It all depends on how fast your car is. If you can leave a little bit on the table, in one of the sessions in order to come back and, save your tires, so to speak, for the last absolute run.
Right here.
Hey Ryan, because Pocono Raceway has, its own little idiosyncrasies here, it's really unique compared to other tracks. Do you feel like yourself and other veterans' experience pays off at a track like this when it comes to race day and qualifying?
I think experience pays off here because of the trickiness of it, the experience and shifting and things like that. But the track's really quite a bit different. The cars are quite a bit different in the last 3 years, let's say, than it was for the last 10 years. So I don't know that previous 7 years of experience is as valuable as the last 3, just because everything's so different compared to what it used to be here.
Ryan Shulman from the Daily Item, former USACR local guide. What's been the reaction in the garage to the way Kurt Busch performed all throughout the month of May at Indianapolis, and given his run there on Sunday, what did you think about his performance overall?
I didn't see the whole race. I saw probably a third of it, but I thought he did a good job. Seemed to be, I guess if you look at it from a NASCAR driver's perspective, to have never driven an Indy car in competition and to go to the Indy 500 and finish 6th, says a lot about him, says a lot about the team. So it was good for him to accomplish his dream, but for me, it's not one of mine. I would have much rather gone over to the Indy Mile and run the dirt silver crown car on that Friday night before the 500 than been in the Indy 500.
Zach Sturdio with Pocono Record. Being that we're about third through the season here, how would you say the adjustment to RCR has been? And then as a follow-up, as far as Pocono goes, talk to some of the other guys about getting rid of that rumble strip in turn 2. Does that change anything for you going forward?
The transition's been good. We're sitting tied for 9th in points right now, so probably in a better position than I've been in the past few years. But in saying that, I haven't had a top 5 yet, or obviously a victory because of that. So, still working on that part of it. We've had good performances. We've had some really bad luck. Had a flat left rear tire coming to the green with about 100 laps to go, whatever it was, Sunday night. So, just some crazy luck like that, which happens to all of us. But hopefully we get it out of the way in the first part of the year, able to capitalize on it for the last part. With respect to the curbing, I don't see it much different. It just kind of gives you the opportunity to go down low if you're trying to avoid something, whereas before you were going to hit the splitter, probably cause an accident. So I guess it just gives us a little bit of flexibility. The groove on the racetrack is still the same.
Hi, Charlotte McBride, WNEP, the ABC affiliate here. You've raced well here, especially in recent years, 2 top 5 finishes last year. You seem to like the track, you know the track. So what are you guys really hoping to accomplish here today at testing?
Just get a good feel on what we need to do here at Pocono, and also take some of that information and translate it into our Indy Brickyard type package. We are testing Indy as well, so that's another added bonus. But just to kind of gives us a head start on that type of package, which is different from the engine standpoint and from the chassis standpoint. This track's really smooth, very much like Indy, and flat and fast. So transferring that information over helps a lot, and having confidence coming into the closest, I guess, back-to-back races at a racetrack that we have here that are before the chase are important as well.
Ryan, you talked about your car being good coming off the truck. Is that always a crapshoot when you unload a car and get out on the track the first time? Have you had some instances where cars were really bad and they had to totally scrap everything and get it going, or is there a baseline?
It's only a crapshoot if you guys don't know what they're doing. So when it comes off the truck good, it's a way to compliment the guys and saying they did a good job. Comparing it to a crapshoot, that's just luck of the throw. I mean, it's not like that. It's not. There's times where you can have the most intelligent guys in the world and they make mistakes. So yes, you can come off the truck wrong, but then you work on it and make it better. And those are the things that we always hope is even if it comes off the truck good, we can still make it better. And that's at the test here today, we did come off the truck good, but we continue to make it better today as well.
Kyle back.
Hey Ryan, Kyle Magny for the Times Leader. Now you have Austin Dillon, your rookie teammate. Have you been able to help him at all with any of the tracks that you've been to this year?
I don't know that much I've helped him. There's so much now data-wise that he can look at without ever talking to me. From an EFI standpoint and the ECU that we have to be able to look and kind of get and learn from me without ever talking to me. So it's not like we have a sit-down conversation, every week or every other week and talk about the races. Yes, he does come to me at times, and I go to him at times. But in the end, our cars can be so much different that no matter how you drive or what your typical driver style is like, it's still so much different.
Ryan, Keith Brother from the Morning Call in Allentown. Just your thoughts on the change of the race for the chase format and how it might have changed the mindset of, we talked about it with other guys, but your thoughts on the change and how the season's gone so far and maybe how it has changed the approach of some drivers, because one win is so important now.
Well, it hasn't changed my approach. I want to win every race. So, our goal is to go out there and do our best each and every opportunity we have, practice qualifying in the race to put ourselves in that position. I guess it puts more exterior perspective, I guess you could say, on winning a race. But in the end, if you look at last year, I don't know that would have changed who was in the chase so much. And it surely would have changed who won the championship. So, comparing this year's point system to last year's point system. So in the end, I don't know that it's much different. Bottom line is it is the way it is, and that's what we have to go off of for this year. Winning a race will probably get you in the chase. Not winning a race is probably going to put you close to the bubble by the way it looks like with the numbers right now. But in the end, we feel like we're capable of winning races, and we'll keep working on that. So.
Ryan, my question was going to be something similar like that, where you're sitting in the points in years past. It might be, hey, we're going to be in the chase, or we're in position for the chase. Now, do you kind of feel pressure, or has the mindset changed because it's a win in your ring kind of situation?
My mindset doesn't change no matter what. I want to win races, but I also want to be consistent to give myself that opportunity as well. So sometimes there's a balance there, but if you're going to win a race, there's no extra risk in my mind that you take to win that race. You might slide up out of the groove and finish 5th or 7th or something like that, but it's not the changing of the world to go out there and make something happen, as I think a lot of people think it is.
Final question for Ryan.
You guys have had a lot of speed all season. I know you haven't had the top 5s like you wanted to. Is there any one area that you see your team is the strongest in, and is there any area that you're focusing on to improve?
We've been at a slight disadvantage, I think, just in pure power, mostly recently, more so than the start of the season. Not to say that we couldn't win with what we got, but it makes it a little bit more difficult. Our pit stops at times have been a bit inconsistent. We can have 2 or 3 good ones, and then all it takes is one bad one to set yourself back those 6 or 7 spots that you may have gained. So, and again, those aren't the things that necessarily keep you from winning. They just keep you from being a little bit better than you are. So, taking a 7th place finish and turning it into a 3rd or 4th place finish, and taking a 12th place finish and turning it into an 8th place finish is what those things do. Collectively, it takes so much that there's a little bit of everything as to why we haven't gotten the end result. A lot of it's just been crazy luck. I mean, we've had some tire issues. We had a tire issue at Bristol, at California, had a left rear tire go down at Charlotte. I mean, that's 3 of the first 12 races. So, 25% of what we've done has been tire related.
Appreciate it, Ryan, and enjoy your time. I know you're doing some fishing while you're around, so have some fun in Pennsylvania.
I'm not
I'll see
beating
next
you up,
week.
yeah.
You did? Yeah, that's good right there. That was a great ride. See if I can write up another couple of drivers. What you gotta do?
Okay.
Enjoy the rest of your lunch. Hey, thanks.
No, they're gonna try and get more. I know Austin Dillon's still out there.
Joe? Card in here?
I don't have it.
You have it? It's in here.
No, it's in here.
All right, I'd like to introduce Kyle Larson. Kyle, what do you think about Pocono? It's your first time seeing it, or?
Yeah, this is my first time I've been here. I've watched some races, and it is definitely pretty tricky. Each corner is different, and you downshift in every corner, and shifting is not one of my strong suits. As I just missed a shift, so we're changing engines and transmissions. So hopefully I got it out of the way early, and can finish the test without missing any more, and then come back in a few weeks and not miss any more there either.
Questions for Kyle?
Hey Kyle, I'm Kyle, by the way.
Hi.
Kyle Magnet, the Times Leader. First off, congratulations on your victory in the nationwide race on Saturday. And second, you never raced here, and you just explained that. What are your overall thoughts about the track?
Well, I think it's a fun track just because it's so different than everything we race on, and each corner is different here. I wish I would have got to race here before they repaved it, because I'm not a big fan of repaved racetracks, just because I think I like wore out tracks, and it seemed like it was a really cool track before, but it's really fast into one, and then you have to downshift into third, so it's really tricky and challenging, so that makes it kind of fun for us.
Zach Sternio, the Pocono record. Talking about the difficulties of the track. I know the tunnel turn has been hammered on by a lot of the drivers who've spoken today. What are your impressions of that turn? And as far as your season as a whole goes, you've had a lot of speed throughout the year, up top fives. What are your expectations going forward for this race at Pocono, and just for the general outlook for the rest of the season?
Yeah, the tunnel turn is, I'm still trying to figure out that corner a little bit, because I feel like I can get through it well without shifting, staying in 4th gear, and then also when I shift into 3rd, it feels just fine too. So, kind of just depends on what you're comfortable with in that corner. And as far as goals and expectations, we have been pretty fast every week, and this weekend at Charlotte we finished 18th, but we were a lot better than that. I think we were a top 10 car, just got down a lap early, and then blew a right front tire and went down another lap, so I got stuck 2 laps down there. But I think our goals each and every week is just to finish in the top 10 now. Before it was maybe a top 15, but now we've been running close to top 10 every race, so that makes our goals a little bit higher, but just got to be consistent and try and make the chase.
Kyle Shawwood from the Daily Item. A couple, I guess maybe about a month or so ago, you talked about hoping that Chip would let you run at the Indianapolis 500. Talk about, if you did watch the race, your thoughts on Kurt Busch and his performance, and how soon would you like to get a chance to try and do the double?
Yeah, I thought Kurt did an amazing job. To finish, I think, 6th was, I think, a lot better than what most people probably thought he was going to do, especially in a backup car. And, yeah, I mean, Kurt just has a ton of talent, and it seemed like all the scheduling stuff was fine. You know, he missed a couple practices at Charlotte, which was all, and, you know, for him, it worked out okay just because he's already won a race. But yeah, I would definitely love to run the Indy 500. I think, you know, hopefully in the next couple years, you know, I can get a shot at it. But you know, really, it's up to Chip and Target, and not really up to me. But you know, I can beg as much as I want to.
You own a sprint car team. You've raced in Central Pennsylvania during Speed Week. Talk a little bit about what that's like to be able to run both here at Pocono and also against some of the best in the world in sprint car racing. And the effects of Tony Stewart's crash from a couple years ago. Are there some concerns nowadays with sponsors and drivers with you guys getting back and doing wing, non-wing, or even midget racing at all?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. I think, you know, with Tony's deal and Jason Leffler's, I mean, it doesn't help. But yeah, I kind of knew even if any of that, you know, didn't happen, I probably wouldn't be running as much sprint car stuff this year just because I don't have the time for it, really. And yeah, you know, I got to race here in Pennsylvania in sprint cars and stuff, and struggled really bad. So Pennsylvania is not one of my favorite places to come, and but hopefully we can change that at Pocono. Pennsylvania definitely has the weirdest racetracks, that's for sure. I don't know. I think there's just a bunch of weird people in Pennsylvania to come up with tracks like this.
That might be the quote of the day. Thanks, Scott.
You've just endeared yourself to the entire state of Pennsylvania.
That's all right. That's all right. Beer Hill Gang doesn't like me anyways, so.
Scott Walsh from the Scranton Times Tribune. Kyle, you just mentioned how maybe your goals have gotten a little higher, you know, from the way you run the first part of the season. How are you handling all this success? Maybe instant success. Has it come a little sooner than maybe you anticipated?
I don't know. I'd always hoped to do as well as I'm doing right now. I think, you know, I'm just doing a little bit better than what we expected going into the season. So I don't know. It hasn't really, you know, the success hasn't caught me off guard or anything like that, and nothing really has, you know, this year, just because I've gotten to, you know, run a few Cup races last year and been in front of the media a lot after announcing the deal last year, so I've kind of gotten used to how everything works here in the Cup Series, and I think that's good, you know, as a rookie, you know, being used to all the extra stuff that comes with it.
Zach Sterling, Pocono Record again. Jamie McMurray, obviously your teammate this year. How much has he been able to help you at tracks like this where you haven't been before, and kind of getting a feel for the racetrack before being in a race mode?
Yeah, Jamie's been a big help to me just today. I mean, as well as all season long. But today, you know, we got here and he took me around in the rental car and kind of explained, you know, how if you feel one way in this corner, you're gonna feel this way in this one, and you know, where to downshift and all that stuff. And you know, he's super easy to work with, and he's, you know, a really good driver, really smart, and really easy to talk to. So I never have a problem going up to him, you know, especially tests and stuff, to ask him, you know, what he's feeling, and he's pretty fast today, so you know, he knows how to get around this place, and yeah, I've been learning a little bit from him.
Do you have any final questions for Kyle? Kyle, appreciate it. Best of luck, and hopefully we can change your mind about this wonderful